In this episode, we are talking with a content creator and business owner about her journey as a crafter, where she started, how she's grown, and she shares some inspiration for any crafters out there who are looking to do something more. Hello and welcome to the Creative Ramblings podcast. I'm your host, Sarah. Every week on this show, we share conversation and insights for crafters on all kinds of topics to help you move forward in your creative journey. This podcast airs Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Central. If you want to get notified every time this and other videos go up, you can hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. This summer, I'm sharing creator stories from business owners who took their passion for crafting and turned it into a business, whether that's creating content on YouTube, teaching classes, or selling goods. There's so many ways to share your unique skill set as a crafter with the world. And I'm really hoping that this series of content creator stories can inspire you. Today, we're talking with crafter Karina, the owner behind CraftyKari. She's a crafter, educator, and shop owner focusing on sublimation, DTF, lasers, and so much more. She has amassed a huge following on social media and built a family-focused business selling her goods. We're talking with Karina about how she got started, how she balances a business and a young family, and she shares tips for anyone looking to move forward from a hobby crafter to a business owner. Hi, Karina. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So today in this episode, we are sharing this is a part of a creator story series. So we are talking about you today, about your brand, how you got started, how this has evolved, and then hopefully sharing some tips and advice for crafters who are looking to expand from a hobby to a business.
Awesome. Yeah.
So why don't we start with just tell us about you and tell us about your brand?
Yeah. So I'm Karina. I'm a new mom. I'm the oldest sister of four. I have so many siblings. I've always been very creative my entire life. Um, I'm a small business owner, and you could find me on social media where I share a lot of behind the scenes and a ton of tutorials.
Awesome. You definitely do. You have an amazing presence on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, and your website.
Thank you.
And you share just such creative, colorful projects.
Thank you.
And I can tell that you've been crafting for a while because that kind of stuff doesn't just happen overnight. So, how did you get started crafting? Like, have you always been crafty?
Yeah, so I've always been crafty my entire life, but I felt like when I was in college and after I had graduated, I went straight into corporate, and so I felt like that kind of sucked the creativity out of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in 2020, when we all went into a shutdown, I was waking up, working, going to sleep, and I was miserable. And I was
Yeah.
like, I need a hobby because this is not healthy. So then I kind of remembered that I was always crafty, and I was like, oh, I should really pick that up. And so I kind of started looking into it, and I noticed that the Cricut community had just gotten so big.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I was like, I had been crafting years before, so I knew nothing about Cricut. So I was like, oh, this seems like something fun to get into. And since I'm the oldest sister, I'm always planning everybody's birthday. I'm always doing the decor. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this would be like the perfect match, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
I like bought a Cricut. I was so hesitant to buy it too,
Mm-hmm.
because it was like such a big purchase at the time where I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, I don't know, should I do it? Should I not? But I did end up going with it, and the rest is history.
Yeah. I love that. And that was such like, what was it, 5 years ago now when we were in 2020. And I feel like I've always been crafty too, but this whole craft world feels like it just exploded. Everybody needed
Yeah.
something to do. And
Mhm.
it was just this great time to get inspiration from other people and learn from other people.
Yeah, and
So
even just connect with others too.
that was great too because you could
Mhm.
connect through your crafts and you could talk about what you were doing and avoid thinking and talking about all the other stuff that was going on and
Exactly.
just let's focus on something positive and good in the world. And that was a really good product of that whole time.
Yeah, definitely.
So you got a Cricut, you invested in that, you started crafting. Did you start sharing online right away or did you kind of do it for yourself?
So I believe at the time my sister had introduced me into the TikTok app, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And that's kind of how I learned more about the Cricut.
Hmm.
because it started popping up in my FYP. It's funny because I'm like, the algorithm knew this was meant for me before I did. So I was watching a lot of, cricket, just videos, small business cricket, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Um, I'm sorry, I completely forgot what the question was.
No, that's okay.
I'm
So,
so
like, you
sorry.
started watching TikTok and that kind of thing, and did you start sharing right away, or were
Oh,
you
yes,
kind
yes.
of like just crafting for you at the time?
Yeah, so when I saw everything online, I was like, oh, this is so cool. I want to share things too, kind of share how I got started because that's what a lot of people were doing at the time. They're like,
Hmm.
unbox with me, let's do my first project. And even though a lot of them were fails, it was still, something really fun to bond about. Like, oh, I, messed this up so bad. And so I was just kind of sharing with friends. And so I don't feel like I started to be like, oh, let me show you how to do this. It was more like, let me share my progress and how that's
Hmm. Sometimes that feels like a less intimidating way to start. Like it's not
going.
this formal, today I'm starting a business and I'm going to do this. It's let me just share what I'm doing. And that it feels real and it feels authentic because it is. And you're just
Yeah,
sharing what you're doing. And
exactly.
I have multiple accounts on TikTok and I have ones where I just follow and I do nothing. And then I have like the ones where I interact. But the ones I really like following people who are real and share their fails. And it's not always picture perfect.
Yeah,
It feels accessible.
right, exactly.
Hmm. So you started with a Cricut, and now when I watch you online, you have so many machines. So
Yes.
what kind of crafts do you do? Do you have like a favorite?
So I feel like I'm all over the place now. I do laser, I do embroidery. I still have my Cricut machines, but I've gotten different, cutting machines. I have my Juliet, I have my Cameos. What else do I have? Like I have so many things. Oh, I have a DTF printer, sublimation
Yep.
printers. So all over the place. I would say, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I think what's become like my default is sublimation just
Mm.
because it's so fun and there's so many blanks, so many things you can do. So I feel like that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now. And I'm also hosting like a sublimation beginner series on my channel. So I feel
Oh,
like
cool.
for the past like 2 months, it's been like full on sublimation.
That's really fun. I think there's so many opportunities with sublimation. Like once you have the printer and a heat press, like you open up so many possibilities.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy.
Mhm. And so teaching people how to do that is kind of cool too, to just help them take away that stigma of you get the printer, you get a heat press, and here's how you do it. And it's not so scary and just have to learn those techniques.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you've expanded from Cricut in just a few short years. You've moved on to, or not moved on, but you've added all kinds of different
Yes.
things. Um, so you are sharing on TikTok, you're sharing on Instagram, you're kind of teaching people, you've moved into like how to teach people how to do things. You have a shop as well, right? Tell me
Yes.
about your shop.
Yeah, so my shop, it's funny because when I bought my Cricut, it was never really my vision for me to be like a small business owner. I mean, like, yeah, I wanted to sell a few things here and there just to make up for the amount of money I was wasting on craft supplies because
I
they
hear
can get
you.
so pricey, right?
Yes.
Um, but slowly people started asking me like, "Oh, this is so cool. Would you consider selling it?" And I was like, "You would buy like my silly
Oh,
projects? Like that's
yeah.
crazy, of course." So I slowly started getting into it. And then I just feel like maybe 2021, early 2020, like small businesses were just blowing up on TikTok. And I just felt like my small business was part of that wave, which it was so crazy. Like it was totally unplanned, but I'm so thankful that it happened. And so,
Mhm.
um, what happened is, so since I have three sisters, they're usually here during the summer, like always
Mhm.
trying to find like, an extra job, part-time job here and there. And I was like, oh, would you guys, be willing to help me just because the demand is crazy? And they're like, oh yeah, that'd be perfect. I live like less than a mile away from them. So it's like so
Okay.
convenient. So that's kind of how it got bigger.
That's awesome. So
Mhm.
you started taking off, and then you have this amazing family that comes
Yeah.
and is helping you just grow what you're
Mhm.
doing. And so, what do you sell in your shop?
So I felt like throughout the years it's kind of evolved. So we had initially started just selling like custom Starbucks cups, like adding
Hmm.
names or adding like cute vinyl decals. And then we moved on to sublimation. And then we just started selling like 16-ounce glass cups. But since then, we really do a lot of customs now. So we do like mug orders for like weddings,
Oh,
quinceañeras, stuff
sure.
like that. But I feel like the quinceañera world has really um, it's just really our main focus in our shop now because we sell like custom robes. We sell custom bottle openers. So I feel like it's really more like custom party favors now.
Yeah, you've niched down, and that
Yeah,
tends to happen if you listen to your audience and you're like, what is selling? And it may not be what your first intention was, but you're like, oh, this
right.
is where my audience is, so why not serve them?
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. So you are a shop owner and you create content. So let's talk a little bit more about the type of content you create now, because you talked about how you started. What has that evolved into? Like, what kind of things do you share on Instagram and TikTok?
Yeah, so now I feel like it's more of like a crafty lifestyle. Like I share a lot of, like for example, coming up, I have my mom's 50th birthday that I'm planning with my sisters, my baby's baptism. So a lot of what, my content will focus during the summer is like just me creating the party favors, me creating the DIY items. And it's awesome because it's all also items that I'll be adding to my shop. So it's
Nice.
like it kind of covers a little bit of both, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of like just work orders I'm working on, um, maybe like unboxing the blanks, actually sublimating the blanks. And then I would say like the third pillar is really like tutorials, like education for others.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome how you're able to blend it together. So, yes, you have a shop and you're fulfilling an order, but then you can turn that into content that is entertaining to watch, but also educational to watch too. Like,
Right.
okay, so if
Yeah.
I want to go sublimate a mug, let me watch what she does and I can learn from that.
Yeah.
That's really cool to bring it all together like that. And I've seen you do some machine tutorials as well, because you do have machines. And I think focusing on those is pretty cool. So, what kind of machine tutorials are you focusing on right now?
So right now I'm still in the sublimation beginner series.
Yep.
This is the first year I'm hosting it on YouTube.
Oh, very
So
cool.
yeah, I'm so excited. I actually quit my full-time job back in November. So I was like, oh, my biggest goal, well, now that I have a little more time, I really, really want to grow my YouTube. It's always
Hmm.
been like a goal of mine. I actually bought like an entire camera equipment. I think it was like 2 years ago, and I was like, I'm gonna take YouTube serious. And I think I posted one video. Um, so thankfully now I'm actually staying consistent, posting at least once a week. It's been probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do as a content creator, but I think it'll pay off, hopefully.
Absolutely. Yeah, that as a content creator and a shop owner, because you've got a lot on your plate, there are so many platforms out there to take advantage of. But I don't know that any one person can do all of them, like, incredibly well, because they're all so different,
Right.
and there's people who excel in one and then maybe not in the other, but, YouTube's a fantastic platform, like, that's where this is airing.
Nice.
People come to YouTube and not only for, like, education, but
Mhm.
the community on YouTube is
Yeah,
pretty cool too, and YouTube is responding with giving us more community features to engage with
right.
an audience, which is so cool. So for you to offer a sublimation series on YouTube, I think people must really enjoy that just so they can come
Yeah.
to you and find you there. But yeah, filming a YouTube video is not like filming a TikTok, right? Like they're two
Yeah,
different
it's
worlds.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one thing to grab your phone out and be like, I'm just going to film, my process real quick versus
Yeah.
filming and editing a full video.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm so glad you're on YouTube because it is such a great place and a great community. And the crafting and making community on YouTube, I think, is really big. And those comments and community we get are awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm. So you mentioned something really big. You left your full-time job.
Yes.
So there's this whole, as content creators, I've been doing this for 13 years. Oh my God, like 13 years.
Wow, that's
My
awesome.
daughter's 14 now, and she was little, very little when I started. And I had left my job because childcare was ridiculous. And I was working for a nonprofit. And I'm like, this just isn't working. And thankfully, my husband
Right.
had a good job. Um, but I needed something to kind of fill those extra spaces. But still, that balance with having a little one and trying to run a business is a lot. So, what led you to kind of leaving that full-time work and coming over to what you're doing now?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, it was really never my goal to, like start a small business, become a content creator. I feel like it kind of just happened, which I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for. Because I feel
Yeah.
like it ended up working out because when I decided to quit my job, the biggest reason was really like I just felt I didn't have enough quality time with my baby. And
Yeah.
she really is my priority. So I was like, you know what, like this is all just too much. And thankfully I had already grown my channels towards like, oh, okay, like yes, my husband is, the one with the main income, and if anything goes wrong, really, I can depend on him. but also, you know, I don't have to give up that financial freedom, right? Like I
Yeah.
have socials, I have my small business that I could depend on. So it's really crazy how it all worked out.
Yep. It's like this all meant to be, right? The universe had a plan for you to kind of get to this
Exactly.
point, and
Yeah.
it all worked out along the way. But I think there's definitely balance. Your daughter is your priority, and I totally agree with that, especially now
Yeah.
in summertime and having older kids, like they're home from school,
Hmm.
and I work from home. My husband actually does too, and we're home, and it's that balance of, well, how do I hang out with you and spend quality time with you, but
Yeah.
still get work done? And so, how are you finding that balance at home?
So I would say, I mean, so I quit at the end of November.
Okay.
And the first few months, there was like a huge adjustment period. Like I honestly thought that I would just stay home and my baby would be happy and we would just, you know, like it would be fine. But no, it took her a few months to adjust. Like
Oh, I
she
bet.
had this, yeah, I felt so bad because she had this fear that I was like she was just waiting for me to leave for work. And so
Oh,
I know I felt so bad. So it took a few months of me like, "Oh, I'm gonna be here. I'll be here all day with you."
yep.
And yeah, it's just, you know, with babies and the growth spurts and the teething and all of that, it's definitely takes some adjustment. And I honestly thought that I was gonna quit my job and I was gonna be like so on top of my socials, so like active and everything. And I feel like I post less than when I had my 9 to 5, which is so
Yeah.
funny because I'm like, I technically have a little more time, right? But
Mhm.
no, it's not. It's not how it worked out at all.
It's a whole different ballgame. Like, you think you
Yeah.
do technically have more
Mhm.
time, but you're with your daughter and you're at
Yeah.
home, and and you're still consistent. Like, you're still doing stuff online. You're still
Yeah.
running your shop. It's just a different kind of balance than it was a year ago,
Exactly. And it's super helpful that my sisters do help me. So like
which is
um
very cool.
my sister Kenya, she's in college. Her school is about I would say like 2.5 hours away.
Mhm.
Um so she does help me remotely. She's able to edit the YouTube video, so she has handled
Oh, that's
all
nice.
the yeah, it's so helpful. When I started in January, I was editing my YouTube videos and it was just taking me so long and I got
Yeah.
behind on short form and I was like as much as I love it, I just realistically cannot take this on. But I did want to still be active, and so it just helped that she was able to pick that up.
So that's awesome. So not only have your sisters helped you with the shop and that type of thing, but with editing and other stuff as creating content, that's wonderful to have a support system like that.
Yeah,
Especially when you know the person and you can trust them. You're not having to vet like a hire when you're hiring an assistant. Like,
exactly.
you
Yeah.
know her capabilities. That's really cool.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like that's really the biggest thing that the main reason I've been able, you know, stay consistent online is really because I have like my sisters there to help me.
Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. I feel I'm in a similar boat, but again, with a teenager of going, okay, you're not quite old enough to get like a real job like outside of the house, but what can you do for me? And I feel like
Mhm.
younger people are just inherently like
Yeah,
social media, it's been in their life forever. And so
forever.
there's no learning curve. And so
Exactly.
I will go to her sometimes for just suggestions. Like, do you
Mhm.
think this video will go well? How should I fix this? And eventually I want to get her into editing, but I don't want to push too hard. Not
Oh,
yet. But
nice.
it's
Yeah.
helpful to have those people in your life that
Mhm.
can help you.
Yeah, definitely.
hmm So let's talk about, we talked a little bit about balance, but what do you find are some obstacles that you've run into for running a small business, both creating content and having a shop?
Yeah, I feel like it's really just I never have enough time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some days I feel like I'm either super active or I'm busy with orders, but it can never be both. So I feel like if you see that I have like good engagement that week, I probably didn't have orders that week versus like if if I have like good engagement, sorry, I think I said that backwards.
No,
If
I knew what you
I,
meant.
yeah, it's just like, I feel like you can never have both, right? So it's like
hmm
you're either working on orders or you're working on content. And I'm still trying to find that balance of like, um, for example, like if I were to go viral, then I'm like probably not filming, not editing, just not being active. So I've
hmm
been trying to find that balance. Oh, I'm working, filming, and editing, but it has not happened.
Yeah, we're always searching for that, right? Of like,
Mhm.
what's that balance? And I find like I have to like write it all out of today is a day where I do this, and then the next day I'm going to do this. But when you're also selling, you can't predict when those orders are coming in.
Yeah,
Like they have to get done. You can't say, "Oh, I'm
exactly.
editing today. I can't do it."
Right.
Like they have to get
Yeah.
done.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So balance is key as a content creator, as an educator, and as a shop owner of finding that balance, finding the right people to come in and kind of support you and help you with everything that you're doing. Um, so let's talk about we both started as crafters, people who like doing crafty things, and then we slowly shifted to selling and creating content. So if you had to give tips to somebody who is very talented using their Cricut or whatever it is, what kind of tips would you share with them for getting started sharing content?
I would say the biggest thing is everything is content. I feel like that's why I was able to start up in 2020 because it was like I was unboxing my weeding tools, which, sounds kind of boring, but um, if everybody else is unboxing it, everybody else is going to engage with it. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like just whatever stage in life that you are, I think a lot of us just wait until everything is perfect,
Oh yeah.
but it's going to take so long to get there, right? I feel like
Yep.
even now everything is a mess, but I think just sharing that, being honest with everybody and showing up as like you,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really what people want to see.
That's so true. Like if I'm scrolling through social media, I see imperfect videos that I love. Like that's the stuff I'm watching of what they're creating and how they're doing it. But yet sometimes I have the fear of, well, my video is not perfect. I can't post it yet.
Exactly.
And so
Yeah.
somehow getting that first step of just put it out there. Because
Mhm.
I don't, especially on TikTok, I don't think the world wants to see perfection. Maybe
Right.
on Instagram sometimes. I think that can be a
Yeah.
little more where people are looking for polished stuff, but there's
Mhm.
platforms that want you to come authentically.
Yeah, definitely. And I think
Mhm.
it's been interesting because, like, I feel like the last 6 months for me have just really been, every day has been so different. I feel like I'm wanting it to go back to like normal, but I feel like this is my new normal, right? And like in the last 6 months, I got a new CO2 laser and I got a new 10 needle
Mhm.
embroidery machine, and those two have been like huge learning curves for me. And
Yes.
honestly, I feel like it made me a little insecure because the last 6 months have been just so different day to day. And then I come to my craft room and it's like, oh, I have these two new items that I need to learn, and it's been a lot, but I think that just showing up as like, hey, I'm learning this, I messed this up, I'm learning this, I ruined this. I think people just really are like, well, that's how I learned too. So
Mhm.
I think it's really easy to share and just, um, I just feel like we get so caught up in trying to be perfect, and it just,
Mhm.
again, it takes time. Everybody goes through that learning experience.
Mhm.
So it's okay. Like if you want to start, I would just say stay consistent, show up, and I think really that's the most important thing.
That's great advice. I've watched your videos on lasers too, and you're very open with, I'm not a laser expert. I don't, this is my first laser. Let's learn it together. Let's go through it together. And it's really inviting. And I think if I had never used a laser before and I wanted to learn it, like that's kind of what I want to see. Cause then when mine comes in the mail, like I'm not as intimidated because I watched you do it.
Yeah,
And so it's super
definitely.
relatable content.
Mhm. Yeah, and same with the embroidery machine. I mean, I feel like everybody has like amazing embroidery content, and they create these amazing embroidery sweaters and they make it look so easy. And then I actually got into it, and I'm like, I'm messing up like every other sweater. How do you guys do it? But again, just like being honest, I'm like, hey, you're probably gonna get this machine, and we're all gonna be on the same boat, and it's okay. It's a learning experience.
Yeah. And that builds community too. Like
Mhm.
anytime I get a new machine, because I feel like I have so much what I call like craft tech, just there's a machine for every kind of craft. I try to join the Facebook group or the Discord community of other
Yes.
people who have it. And most of those people are just doing it for themselves. They're not sharing it
Mhm.
online. And so you find your people and you feel like, oh, I'm not alone in this. And that it almost
Yeah.
gives you a little bit more courage to go out and create because you know you're not alone. You're not the only one who
Yes.
doesn't understand a certain function or
Exactly.
whatever it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Had you ever embroidered before, like hand embroidered?
No, so I did have a smaller, like one needle embroidery machine, so
Okay.
that's kind of how I started.
Okay. I embroidery fascinates me. I have a friend who does like hand embroidery and we were talking and she always had done it as just a hobby, right? She had
Mm,
never
okay.
shared it and but she has a just a whole craft brand and she started to slowly put it out there and her followers seem to really enjoy it and it's kind of her putting herself out there of like, look, I tried something new. I'm going to show you what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us to do that, but it works.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. I've always wanted to learn. Oh my God, it seems so intimidating.
Yeah, yeah. No, your big machine looks really cool with all the like that's totally foreign to me, but I'm watching it like that is amazing.
Yeah.
And then do you sell any of those products with the custom embroidery? Like is
Um,
any of that in your shop?
so the laser items and the embroidery shop will be coming probably next month. I haven't gotten there yet. Again, just because I got both of them at the end of November, it's been a huge adjustment period.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that really is my goal.
Well, and it fits in as you've said your business has shifted because you found a different niche of it's almost a party favor thing, but to
Yeah.
add custom embroidery or
Mhm.
custom, laser cut and the combinations you can do with laser and sublimation are pretty cool
It's
between
so
the two.
cool. Yeah,
Like you can offer something that no one else makes.
exactly. It's pretty awesome.
Hmm. Yeah. So I love your tip for just showing up as who you are and being authentic and just doing it. Any recommendations for platforms for someone to start with?
That's a good question. I think I mean, I'm active like on Instagram, I'm active on TikTok and YouTube. I think they're all really great in terms of community and just, being welcome.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think they all have their unique pros and cons, right? But
Exactly. Yeah.
if you're active on Instagram personally, then maybe that's where you start. Or if you're a big YouTube user, then maybe that's where you start. But
Yeah, definitely.
doesn't have to be too complicated, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you talked about a little bit about your next steps of bringing the embroidery and laser things into your shop. What are kind of your goals for this year and going in the future for your business?
Yeah, so I would say these are really my biggest goals, just bringing in custom embroidery items, a lot of laser cut items. Acrylic projects are so awesome. I really
Oh yeah.
started getting into it, and it's like the color combinations are amazing. But I would love to bring in a UV printer to combine with my CO2 laser. That's one of my biggest goals this year. I don't know if I'll get there, but if not, hopefully next year for sure.
That's awesome. That's another combination kind of like lasers and
Yeah.
sublimation. I have a UV printer. I have the Eufy make
Oh,
that
nice.
is on Kickstarter right now.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
it's incredible. Like I've never had a UV printer before, but it's something that nothing you can't do with any other machine.
Right.
It's like sublimation on steroids. It's
It's
incredible.
so cool. Yeah, I've seen the videos and I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I don't sell anything, but I watch creative people who have the ideas and then what they're able to bring to life through all this combination is just so cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you would love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, manifesting it. Yes.
Right? Just make it happen. And
Yes.
I feel like this company that came out, the Eufy Make, that's kind of the first home UV printer.
Yeah.
I more companies will do it. Like I feel
Oh,
like that's almost
yeah,
the next
definitely.
thing
Yeah.
because you have this one, they're not going to be the only company. Like there will be others and that'll be our thing next year. Everybody will be talking about
Yeah.
UV printers.
Right. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to be popular next year.
Yeah. And we'll just keep adding on. So you've got some good goals. You've got some things that you want to work on for the future. I think from everything that we've talked about here, this idea of just showing up as a crafter and sharing what you do. You don't need a business. You don't need a business plan. It doesn't have to be super formal. It
Yeah.
just show up and you will find your community of other crafters who want to do what you do and then you can build from there. And
Yeah,
I love that
definitely.
that's kind of how you got into this. You didn't have a huge plan. It was just like I'm going to show up.
Yeah, it's crazy how things work out. So I would say if anybody wants to start, definitely just do it. I know it's scary and intimidating, but once you get out there, once you get a little more comfortable, the possibilities are just endless.
They really are and you're a wonderful example of that. So, where can people find you if they want to see what you do or if they want to check out your shop?
So I'm the most active on Instagram. Usually I'm there posting reels, posting stories every day. And you guys can find me at CraftyKari underscore. And then also, I'm so sorry, my baby like walked in from her walk. I don't know if you can hear that.
I love
Yes.
it.
And you can also find me on TikTok and YouTube. I would say YouTube is the biggest place where I have the most in-depth tutorials. I do post short form tutorials, but YouTube is definitely the place to find me if you want to see long form tutorials.
Awesome. So I'm going to share all of that down in the description and I'll tag your
Thank
YouTube
you.
channel. And I think you're an inspiration for crafters out there who are going, I kind of want to do this and she was successful. Maybe I can be too. So I really appreciate you sharing your story with us. And I hope it inspires other people. Definitely go check out her channels down below. Karina, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you so much for having me.